Get after for 6, 8 seconds. Guys, this is what we had to get. This ain't the one we want. You got that ball.
Another episode of the Laurel Leader Call Sports Show. I'm your host, Jack Fairchilds, joined alongside Kevan Lindsey and Josh Guru Nichols. We are excited to be here again. Had some fun contests last week that we want to talk about. Also, we want to apologize. We were supposed to have a guest picker today, but scheduling conflicts, maybe we can have him in next week. But based on how things go, Guru may not want him or you may want him to attend. It just depends on how certain games we'll get to later in the show go. Right, Goo?
Yeah, I mean, I think if he's able and all our schedules align, I think he should come on the show because one of us will have a debt to pay to the other, and what better way to do it than on podcast?
I think it works out better, Kevin. This, at least for you and myself, we get to be entertained by whichever one of these two, whether it's Guru or Kelvin Dog Smith, whoever loses their little bet here. I think you and I will be entertained.
Yeah, either way, one of them's will be miserable. So it works out. It works out great for us.
Well, folks, a lot of stuff to get into today. Of course, we will always like to recap the games from the previous week. Let's start with Laurel at West Harrison. Laurel, again, this is another one of those games that they seem to be closer than the final score indicated, at least closer before they got into the fourth quarter. Things seemed to get away from Laurel after they got in the fourth quarter. This one was a lot more lopsided than the previous games have been, but it's just the same story week after week. In the game, fourth quarter happens, and another loss. Kevin, what are your takeaways from this game?
I hate to sound like a broken record, but they were competitive, and you're looking at what, 0-4 team now, right?
Yeah, correct.
And I promise I'm not making excuses for them. I just feel like that they're better than what that 0-4 and potentially 0-5 because they're facing Oak Grove. I know we're doing our picks, but that's a tough team too that they're facing. We're going to talk about that. Obviously, if you just look at the box score and you see that final score 53-20, you're like, oh my goodness. But we were all surprised it was a one-score game. Laurel actually, I think, had a lead at one point in the first half against a tough West Harrison team. We talked about the running back, what they were able to do. And even whenever you talked to Coach Ernest Monday,
yes,
he was like, hey, we were in this game, and I kind of feel like that's where they're at. And I just want to see Laurel close it out. And I hope that they just don't get beaten up by this record.
Guru, what's your takeaway?
Just kind of just feed off of that and continue on with what Kevin was stating. And, this schedule that they've played, and after this week's game against Oak Grove, most likely 0-5. But then they get a full week off, get to rest, get ready to play Old Brook, start district play. And as long as they're healthy going into district play, it doesn't matter what their record is once that starts. That's we talked about it before on one of these shows. That's the first part of the season. You can throw all that crap out the window, and then it's time to focus on those 5 district games and see if they can get it rolling there. I think they will. I think just from what I've seen with their district, I would say at worst a 3 seed, possibly. If a break here or there, things go their way, they might end up 5-5 and come out as the 1 seed.
It's possible. Next one we've got Lawrence County. They went to our friends at Northeast Jones. Northeast Jones looked really, Kevin, you covered this game. You were at that game. Tell us what you saw, because it seems like it was a complete performance from Northeast Jones.
Oh, it was. It was from start to finish. I mean, it was just dominating performance for the Tigers. I called it. I thought AJP would have a big game. He does. He was named our Player of the Week. Not to be outdone, Caleb Magruder was right behind him. Bryson Dice was right behind him. They have a formidable rushing attack. And I think that's going to serve them well as they transition into this district play. Obviously, I don't want to speculate if he is or isn't going to play. I know Cade Mazingo did get hurt. He was pulled from the game. Their backup comes in. I'm so sorry. I think his last name was Maxey. Only threw one pass. It was AJ, and AJ made some things happen in the open field, which is what I want to see. I want to see AJ Pugh out in the open field and being able to move around. Just a complete performance, and I will keep saying this every week. That defensive line is unreal, and they controlled the line of scrimmage and kept Lawrence County off the entire game.
And, Northeast, after suffering some early losses, bounced back. They're 2-2 on the year. Got a big one coming up this Friday night that we'll get into. But, they're kind of finding their stride, both offensively. We knew coming into the year they were going to be solid on defense, especially across the defensive front. Coach Milner was concerned about the secondary. They're figuring things out there. And like Kevin said, with the three-headed monster in the backfield, Northeast Jones is a team that a lot of teams coming up, especially when we get into October, November, better pay attention to.
Absolutely. It's fun to watch these teams start to come together. Northeast Jones had struggled. I wouldn't say struggled, but they just weren't able to get the win the first 2 weeks. But they seem to, ever since that gutsy call to go for two, they just seem to, that seemed to have motivated
against
everyone.
Newton County.
Next up, we've got North Pike at West Jones. That was the game I covered. West Jones beat North Pike thoroughly, but it should have been worse. And I'm just going to be honest. West Jones, even despite winning as lopsided as they did, they still didn't play as well as you think they could. They were paced by Chandler Watson with his 4 touchdown catches. Tootie Lindsey looked really well. He really comfortable throwing it up there to 17 and just watching him go get it. It was a great game for West Jones, but I feel like they left points on the table. I feel like they could have been even better because North Pike was definitely outmatched in that game.
How about Watson? He is just unreal.
7 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yeah, just unreal the past 2 weeks. I think that's what, it's like he heard us talking about it, Caleb Holmes, and was like, okay, I'm fixing to show you what I can do. And that's a good thing. I mean, honestly, that's a good thing if you're the head coach, if you have players stepping up like that. So, I didn't obviously go to that one. Jack did, but, I think this is kind of what Jack leaned into. I think whenever we were making these picks early on in the year, if West Jones plays their full potential, they can make a run.
Yeah.
Right. And, I know Corey Reynolds well enough to know that at some point there in the second half, he definitely took his foot off the gas pedal. And I wasn't there either, but I'm pretty sure there was a lot of kids that got to play in the green and gold last Friday night.
They pulled away late, so I'm sure he did get some more in, but it wasn't as noticeable as it normally would be because it was a tighter game for much of the contest. But you could just tell watching that game.
You knew who the better team was.
Yeah, and just to give you the numbers that we had for Chandler Watson, 6 catches, 111 yards, 4 touchdowns in that game. I mean, that's just a remarkable game for
like
him.
over 18 yards reception.
You said 6 catches?
6
catches, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's that Randy Moss on Thanksgiving Day numbers.
Oh, goodness. Next, our last recap game, we've got Quitman at South Jones. Guru, you were the one covering that game, so tell us what you saw.
Dude, the final score is no indicator. I think this one's even more lopsided than the Northeast Jones Lawrence County game. The final score was 42-20. Quitman, I talked to coaches on the sidelines from South Jones. I'm not going to put anybody on blast, any persons, keep it plural, but just the way Quitman approached the game, especially in the fourth quarter, when you're down there was a running clock. No, it never got to a running clock because they kept throwing the daggone ball the whole freaking second half, and it was totally one sided. It was 28-7 at one point in the first half. South Jones just did what they wanted to offensively. Gavin was the last name, number 6, the quarterback from Quitman. Kid's got a strong arm on him. Wasn't that accurate, but there comes a point in the game when you know the game's over, and you need to just pack it in and move on and get ready for next week. You're down 42-14. There's 5 minutes to go in the game, and you're still throwing the ball. I mean, the coaches, to keep it blunt, the coaches from South Jones weren't very happy about that, and I don't blame them. And I'm going to tell you the worst thing about the whole thing, the people that were there to be seen the least seemed like they wanted to be seen the most, and that was the guys wearing the zebra stripes. That crew, I hope I don't ever have to cover one of your games ever again. Atrocious. We were all at the South Jones, Northeast Jones game that Thursday night to open the season. First game of the year. A good bit of penalties you expect. And we thought that was a lot of penalties, boys. At South Jones on the reservation against Quitman, there were more flags thrown in that game than there were that week opener. And the worst part was on one drive, the only scoring drive for Quitman in the first half, there were 4 pass interference calls against South Jones. All 4 of them came from the Quitman sideline. There were no flags thrown from the south sideline, and one of the plays happened on the south side of the field, and the flag came from the other side of the field. Hopefully I don't get to be with y'all anymore. I don't want to. If I see that white hat covering the game, I might call one of y'all and we're going to switch.
Pass. Well, Kevin, what do you take away? You saw the score. You saw everything about that game as well. Do you feel like that this is a sign that South is on the right path, or do you think it's still too early to tell? I mean, they've got that big win over West Jones. They just continue to keep rolling. Do you think that South is legit?
That's the question. I've been asked this question 3 times this week. Who is the best team in Jones County? We know South is the Jones County champions, right? They got the shirts, man. All right.
No comment.
Yeah, right. No, I just teasing. But I've been asked this question: is South Jones legit? Is South Jones legit? And yeah, I don't think there's any way you can say they're not.
At this point, you can't. I mean, they're 4-0. They beat their biggest rival, who's a bigger school, who coming into the season, we anticipated them to make the deepest run in the playoffs. Yeah. But, I mean, until we're proven otherwise, I totally agree with you. I mean, that's the answer. Yes, they are legit.
Yeah, I think that, as long as you have, we obviously know one of the Jackson brothers is out. He had an injury. I was going to circle back to that because I forgot. Anthony Jackson injured his knee during the fourth quarter and had a bit of a surgery on it to get pins put in it, and he's done for the year. Yeah. And hopefully he'll recover in time and be back to get on the pitch and play some soccer for the Braves. Yeah, but I can't say no. Now, I will say this, and this might be a bit of a hot take. It's the difference. You beat West Jones and you beat Northeast Jones, but the playoffs are a lot different in 5A than they are in 6A. And I would argue at some point, I think maybe 6A playoffs are a little bit easier, maybe, because there's just a lot of 5A powerhouses right now. Especially that was at one point, I think Guru would agree, 5A South was just unreal in the playoffs.
Yeah, you go back to when we had just 6 classifications, and yeah, I mean, like the year West won it in 20. They had to go on the road all 3 games because they came out of the region as a 4. It was COVID crap and all that stuff that ended up pushing them down to the 4 slot. And, you know, Hattiesburg, or no, they opened with Picayune, Hattiesburg, Pascagoula.
Yeah.
And go on the road and win all 3 of those. And, I mean, any one of those other 3 teams that they beat could have just as easily won the South that year. Yeah. And then to go back with what you said, a lot of the teams that were in 5A then, most of them are still there now. Mm-hmm. But what happened when we went to 7 classifications, that's how the 6A kind of got thinned out.
Yeah.
Because just because you were the bigger school in numbers didn't always mean, or either way, the bigger or the smaller school in numbers didn't necessarily equate to how good you are on the football field. And I would agree that for one of our 3 local schools, South, Northeast, or Laurel, to make a run in 5A, they're gonna have to knock off somebody that they probably shouldn't have. Whereas, not taking anything away from them, you know, the path for West Jones in the South, North is different.
Yeah,
but in the South, I mean, it's a little bit more manageable. Mm-hmm. But once you get to that state championship in Starkville, that's going to be a little bit different because there's some teams up in 6A up north that come and hit you in the mouth.
Right. That's fair. Let's get, before we get into our previews, I don't see much of a point in our recap of the Big 3 in Mississippi colleges in going into too much on Ole Miss and Mississippi State. They took care of business like they were supposed to. But Southern Miss laid an egg this past weekend, you know, and I guess my question to you guys would be, and I'll start with you, Kevin, is this a sign that maybe, you know, is there a sign to be worried because they're away from home, they're playing a Louisiana Tech team that is okay, but I don't think stellar, and they really and truly struggled for most of the day. Is this a bad sign, or is this just one of those games that just got away from the coaching staff?
I just think it's one of those games. I mentioned it in last week's episode that, you know, La Tech kind of hung around with LSU, and LSU just didn't roll over them. So I just kind of think it's that. I think that you got a lot of transfers coming in, you got a lot of kinks to work out. I don't think it's time to hit the warning button or anything like that, because I was kind of torn on who I was going to pick in that game anyway, knowing it was their first trip on the road and things like that. You know, if we look up 3 weeks from now and they haven't won a game, yeah, you want to hit the panic button.
Yeah.
But no, I don't see hitting the panic button on this one this early. I just, you know, it sucks to lose to La Tech, but, you know, being on the road and first game away, I just think it's part of it. It's growing pains.
Yeah, and I was pulling up the box score. I mean, it was the biggest takeaways if you look at it. You know, the game was 17-10 at the end of the first quarter, 20-10 La Tech at halftime. No, excuse me. It was way worse than that. No, they scored they scored all 30 points in the first half. So I would have to say you give a little bit of attention to that second half, because the Golden Eagles, you know, they came out and shut La Tech out in the second half and ended up putting up a few more points. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button. With their game this week against Jack State, I think we'll learn what we need to know as far as going into conference play.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into our previews now for the high school games this week. And Kevin, we already kind of previewed the first one, Laurel at Oak Grove. It's another tall task for Laurel, as you said a second ago, that they're staring at the barrel of an 0-5 start, which is never ideal. But if you talk to Coach Ern, he wanted his team to be tested by fire, and they went out and they made a tough schedule intentionally.
It's a really hot fire.
Yeah. So again, you look at this matchup, you know what Oak Grove is. Laurel is a better team than their record indicates, without a doubt. This is going to be another tough test on the road for Laurel. What do you think would be the keys for Laurel to actually pull off what would be considered an upset in this game?
to pull off the upset, they're going to need Bivens to step up and do what I say. Obviously, we didn't see him. We did not see him Friday night, so I don't know what his stats are. I don't even think they were on max preps.
No, only school in the county. Come on, guys. Come on, Coach Ernest. Get somebody
we
to
need
do it.
stats on max preps,
Please.
guys.
Please.
But no, I want to see him have confidence. I think that's one thing. The more I've thought about it from the game that we covered, I just want to see confidence. I want to see him have some confidence and trust his playmakers because they do have playmakers. We know that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. I think that defense is better than what is let on. I know they just gave up 53, and that's crazy for me saying that. But I think that defense is better than what a lot of people give them credit for. But one thing that I want to say, and it kind of goes back to the 5A deal and their scheduling and record. When they went to the state championship 2 years ago, they had a 1-5 record coming into district play. Their only win was against Meridian, and that was a shootout, 48-38. Otherwise, they were 1-5, and then they reel off a few wins, and they get in the playoffs, and then they face Provine, Brookhaven, and Gaucher, and then they get to the state championship, and obviously the West Point just does West Point things. But don't hit the panic button.
No.
With that said, though, it's Oak Grove, and it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, Oak Grove's coming in after a shocking win last night. Not just shocking, but convincing 34-6 win over Neville out of Louisiana, who at that time was the number 6 ranked team in the state of Louisiana. It's not going to be any easier this week for Laurel. But I think what we need to look for in this game is how they grow.
Yeah.
How they grow from that 53-20 loss to West Harrison. I think they might. I think this is a game where you bury West Harrison. That's in the past. You got a bye week coming up. Let's go out. Let's lay everything out on the line. And I think this. I'm not going to give anything away, but I think this one might end up being a lot closer than the last couple of weeks for Laurel.
And we'll get to our picks when we get there in a second and see how much closer Guru thinks when we get to that. Next, we've got South Jones at Enterprise Clark. South, of course, we talked about, how good they've been looking and the fact that this could be the team that they've dreamed of for the last several years. Guru, I know you've been on the South Jones beat. So let's start with you. What do you see in this matchup? What do you think's the key takeaways going in? What does South need to do to extend the winning streak?
Well, for starters, they're going to be facing an offense that is very, very old school. They're going to get up under center. Like Kevin talked about earlier in the week, they're going to sit there and they're going to bleed the play clock down. They're going to run it to the left. They're going to run it to the right. They're going to dive it up the middle. This game might be done in an hour and a half if Enterprise is able to move the ball now. Now, Braden Armstrong, linebacker for South Jones, leads the state in tackles. So, Braden, you're going to get a heck of a chance to make a lot of tackles on Friday night because with a team that runs the ball as much as Enterprise Clark does, South Jones, going on the road, leaving Jones County for the first time this year. They got to look at it as a business trip. Just go there. Follow your game plan, stick to it, and come out healthy. And that's just basically all you got to do is just stick to the game plan. And they can throw it, they can run it with Anquan Jackson, Colin Flowers, to the other Caleb Magruder in Jones County, wide receiver for the Braves. So South Jones has multiple ways to move the ball. Enterprise is like 90% run, so it'll be an interesting game.
Kevin?
Yeah, I think this is one of those games where if you just look at the box score, you're going to be like, man, South struggled. But at the same time, you have to look beyond the box score just because of like what Guru said. Enterprise Clark is running an offense where they're going to sit in the huddle for 25 seconds till the play clock runs to about 15 or 12. And then probably the smallest kid on the team is the quarterback, right? He's probably about 5. I don't know. I'm just saying. I know how these offenses run. Small kid gets under center, and they just hand off and try to fall forward for 3 or 4 yards. That's their whole goal. And you could look at this, and it may be a 21-10 game. You're like, oh man, South is in trouble. Well, they may have only got 3 or 4 possessions in that game. So that's one thing that I will say. But yeah, I think it's just like Guru said, it's a business trip. Handle your business. Get ready for district.
Next matchup, we've got West Jones traveling to Wayne County. Wayne County continues its struggles, So, Kevin, you're
too bad Wayne County and Laurel aren't playing at one point this year in the regular season.
Laurel would get to hopefully feel really good about themselves after that matchup if it was to happen. Yeah, Kevin, again, this is the game you're scheduled to cover. What do you think are the keys, or is it just West Jones show up and play West Jones football? Is that the main key here? Or?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. West Jones just go in and play West Jones football, hand it off to Caleb Holmes, toss it up to Watson. Wayne County, to me, is Jekyll and Hyde. They play Northwest Rankin really, really close, but then they go and they lose to a Leake County or Leake Central or whatever leak it is over there, right?
They're the Gators one way or the other.
They're the Gators, right? They lose that game. But I just don't know what to make of them, Talked to, I won't name who it was that I talked to, but after they got beat by Northwest Rankin, they're like, well, at least we have George County coming in. And what happened? You lose to George County.
Yep.
So I just don't know what to make of it, and I want this for me. Okay, I grew up as a high school kid in y'all versus us. And as I've grown up and become a journalist and become a sports guy, I've always wanted to know that feeling of what this game was whenever I was sitting there as a kid on the sidelines. Because, man, Paul Keene and Sean Dunlap and Sean Wansley, whenever they were covering this thing, whenever it was so big that they had to go to Jones College to put the game in, I wanted that back.
Yeah.
So it's so disappointing to see where Wayne County's at. So I just want that rivalry to get back going.
Yeah, this will be the 23rd straight year that these two have matched up during the regular season. And it is kind of mind-boggling with how far Wayne County has fallen in the last, not even, 4 years probably?
Yeah.
It's been one-sided. West Jones has won the last 7 in a row. Prior to that, though, Wayne County beat West Jones 8 times in a row in the regular season. But, yeah, I mean, the War Eagles are just, they're not the War Eagles of what everybody's accustomed to. And just like South Jones, this is a business trip mentality for West Jones this week, and their motto is always BM 1-0 this week, and kind of hard not to think that might happen.
Absolutely. It's going to be, I don't even think it's going to be interesting. If West Jones plays like they're capable, but as Kevin pointed out, Wayne has proven that they can rise to the occasion at least once this year. So who knows what we're going to see there. Next, we've got Seminary at Northeast Jones. Northeast Jones has just been rolling lately, and they've got their ground game rolling. The biggest question mark going into this game is the status of the quarterback. If he plays, how effective is he going to be? How limited is he going to be if he plays? I think that they continue to just hand the ball off no matter who's under center. And I think they're a team that can continue to roll, but Seminary's no pushover. So this is a very interesting matchup. Kevin, what do you take away on this one?
I think this is the most interesting matchup in the county this week.
Oh yeah, this is Super Talk's game of the week. That's where they're going.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting game. I was actually looking up Seminary's record and who they played. West Lauderdale, they got beat 40-14, then they turn around, they put up 48 on Collins. But then they played the Iberville team, who is much larger team, and they only lose 49-21. And that, when you look at the box score, the Iberville put away late. Like, they pulled away from that game late. Then they turn around and beat Prentice Christian 35-21. So I know Mitch Evans likes to throw the ball around. And, it's kind of what Coach Milner talked about, that he was a little worried with Lawrence County of, spreading out the ball and stuff. Mitch Evans is going to test them. He's going to test them because he's going to push his team to spread the ball out. So this is one where you look at, it's a little bit of a test before you go into district play. I know it's homecoming week. I thought it was last week, but it's homecoming week for Northeast. So combine homecoming week and then combine a seminary team that's going to push you. They're going to spread the ball out. They're going to play fast paced. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, this is kind of a, tale of two different,
Trap game?
Yeah. I would say yes if they weren't off next week.
Mm-hmm.
They do have the bye week like Laurel next week. So, I mean, homecoming, and every coach in Jones County and probably the state, probably the freaking country will tell you, homecoming can be a big distraction if you let it be. And like Kevin said, seminary is they're going to come out, they're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at you offensively. And as we've seen, even when Cade Mazingo has been healthy, it's still the running game of Northeast Jones that's the backbone of their offense. So, I mean, it's two different completely offensive styles going at it in this one. And this, I mean, just looking at it on paper, this one could go either way.
It's gonna be a tough one when we get to the picks.
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, let's start our picks, and we'll start in the college realm here. And of course, the first game up, we've got Holmes at Jones College.
Speaking of homecoming,
it is homecoming. Jones, of course, they've lost 2 straight now.
Yep.
So Jones really needing a win. I think they'll get it here in this particular matchup. I think Jones will be too much for Holmes. So give me the Bobcats.
Yeah, if you don't win homecoming, at Jones College, if you don't win homecoming, that's pretty bad on you. I'm going to pick Jones College in this one. They win big.
Ooh. There's circles all the way up and down here. There's one game right there, Holmes at Jones, not circled. I went back and forth. I don't even know if I still made my mind up yet. They played 2 common opponents. I totaled up the points for and against, and 117 to 115.
Wow.
Right?
So they're pretty even.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this game, it's a toss-up. I'm going to stay. I'll stay in Jones County. I'll go with the Bobcats.
They got beat by Southwest 34-6. Holmes did. Southwest is no powerhouse in football unless something changed. That might help you. Does that help your confidence in?
No.
He doesn't seem any more confident. Next matchup, we've got Auburn at Texas A&M. Auburn coming off of the controversial loss last week to Oklahoma. Several missed calls in that game. Yes, Kevin, I know this year, but I'm on your side in agreement that game had not just questionable calls, completely terribly missed calls, and
game changing too.
Yeah. I mean, every single one that went against, and they all went against Auburn, were in key moments that could have changed the entire dynamic of that game. So the question is, how does Auburn rebound after that? I want to pick them, but it's there at A&M. It's going to be a tough place. You're coming off the disappointment where you feel like you were robbed. I wish it was an easier opponent for him this week, so I'm going with the Aggie. Give me Texas A&M.
I said to people before this season ever started that I thought the Oklahoma game would dictate our season, or would dictate Auburn's season, not ours. I'm not on the team.
They can still be your team. They can be ours.
Yeah. Well, I've thought that would dictate the season, and I'm not going to sit here and cry about missed calls, because missed calls happen every play. You can call holding every play, it feels like. But going into Texas A&M with the 12th man, and just knowing that I watched Auburn get sacked 10 times in that game, there's so many questions now about the offensive line. I know Oklahoma's got an insane front seven that terrorizes people, but there's just no sense in getting sacked 10 times in a game. Give me Texas A&M.
Gig 'em. That's it.
Simple. No breakdown from the guru on this one. USC at Illinois. Guru, you will be breaking this one since you like to do your midnight snacks anyway. So
It's actually an early game, though.
is it an early game this week?
Yeah,
It's at Illinois.
It's at Illinois.
Yeah. So USC, they're undefeated. Illinois is coming off of a really bad loss against Indiana.
Shellacking.
One that none of us saw coming.
I mean, if it would have been 23-7,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but 63?
Yeah.
You got Hoosiered.
Yeah, Illinois' offense just disappeared on them, and their defense was non-existent, obviously. Can they rebound? They're at home. I still don't know how much I believe in USC at this juncture, but it does take a lot out of you when you're traveling from the West Coast that far. But Illinois burned me last week, and even though I do like Luke Eichmauer, the pride of Starkville, so but I just can't pick them this week. I think USC goes in there and gets a win.
Go Trojans.
Wow, you going fight on? Is that what you want? Fight on?
Fight on Trojans.
Yeah, I will expound upon this one since Kevin did with Auburn A&M. I agree with your comment, Jack. I am not sold on USC. When they popped into the top 25 after week 2, I was like, who? They haven't even played anybody. Who's voting for you, Associated Press? Come on. And Illinois, after getting punched in the mouth by rival Indiana, I think they're going to bounce back this week. I think they're going to bounce the Trojan out of the top 25. Give me the Fighting Illini.
Oh, wow. So at least you kept us from being a clean sweep. So that way, you don't know who's going to win. If we'd all picked them, USC, then you could say, yeah, Illinois is going to win.
I already had it circled. I got proof. I only have a blue pen up here, and that's circled in red.
Next, we've got and this could be one of the games of the weekend for sure, Oregon at Penn State. Penn State, I really want them to get it done. They've had this tendency the last couple of years of having these big games, these games that can be their statement game. And it can be at home. It can be their whiteout game. And they, for whatever reason, they still just haven't been able to get it done. But I think the Nittany Lions figure out a way this time. I think they will beat Oregon in a shootout. I think it's going to be a really, really fun contest to watch. Give me Penn State.
It's a whiteout game, right? I think Penn State's going all out. I think
so.
Tonight on NBC, whiteout game. Unreal. Honestly, one of the most unreal environments. I would love to be there.
Yeah.
I would love to just see the environment. I know it's crazy loud. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to win there. But you know what? It's the Ducks, baby. It's the Ducks. Quack, quack, quack. Oregon and Dan Lanning, probably my favorite coach. Honestly, he's probably my favorite head coach right now. Give me the Ducks going there and upset the Nittany Lions.
It's hard to pull against James Franklin, head coach of Penn State. I really like him, and quarterback Drew Aller came back for his senior year. I mean, their one goal was not to win the Big Ten, not to make it to the CFP, but to win a national championship. And I think they've put together a team that is very capable of doing that. However, Oregon has put together a team that just might do that. I'm with Kevin. Give me the Ducks. Shucky nugget quack quack.
So I'm if Oregon wins, I'm the one who helped save that for this time.
Correct.
Goodness. The next game, another game that could be game of the week qualifications. Alabama at Georgia. Alabama had that embarrassing loss to Florida State to start the season.
It's not that embarrassing anymore.
Yeah, Florida State, though, has maintained by being undefeated. Alabama hadn't really played anybody since Florida State, so it's still unknown if they've turned a corner or if it's just weak competition. Georgia found a way against Tennessee. Even though it looked like it was a sure defeat, they found a way. give me the Dogs there at home. I think Georgia takes care of the Crimson Tide. I don't believe they've turned that corner. I think they've played some soft opponents since Florida State. So give me the Bulldogs.
Are you really calling Louisiana Monroe soft?
Absolutely.
Paul, you're calling Louisiana Monroe soft. They put up 73 points against them. Then Wisconsin, they scored 38.
Who is in the process of talking about firing their coach. So
Right.
yeah,
I mean, come on. Give the Bama fans some respect. They're 2-1 now.
Road Tide.
Roll Tide. Yeah, Georgia is probably fixing to expose Alabama. One of them is going to get exposed.
Yeah.
But I really think that it's going to be Georgia. I mean, it's just Georgia and Tennessee is a rivalry, man. Both those teams are going to bring their best. So I was expecting a close game in that one either way. But I think Georgia's probably still got a bitter taste in their mouths of what happened last time those two went up in the regular season. Y'all remember that? Georgia should have probably had that game won and Alabama
Right.
come back. So I'm picking Georgia in this one.
I think with Georgia going on the road to get that win at Tennessee in the way that they did, I mean, I think that's something that Kirby Smart rallies them around. And, I mean, like Jack said, Alabama really hasn't played anybody since Florida State. We go Pat McAfee on this one. We go, who's that coming down the track? The mean machine in red and black. But I'm not going to pull a McAfee. Give me the dog.
Oh goodness. Now we get into our state schools. We've got Jacksonville State at USM. USM coming off of a loss last week on the road. They come back home. This is a Jacksonville State team that embarrassed USM last year, but they don't have Rich Rod as their coach this year. I don't think that they're the same team they had last year. I know this isn't the same Southern Miss team that they played last year. Give me the Golden Eagles to rebound after last week's defeat. Kev.
Yeah, I'm going to make this short and sweet. Give me Southern Miss to take care of business.
And piggybacking off what you said, Jack, I mean, there's still some kids on that Southern Miss team that got that bad taste in their mouth from last year, and some of them probably even see a lot of action in this one. I don't see the Gamecocks coming in here and doing anything but deflating and leaving Hattiesburg with a loss.
Next, we've got Tennessee at Mississippi State. This is a big game for Mississippi State. This is the game that they can step up and show, yes, we are for real. It's not the fact that Arizona State wasn't as good. We are a legit team. It's in Starkville. Those cowbells are going to be extremely loud, but I made a promise to State fans that I cannot pick them. So you already know, until I'm proven right, I've got to go with the Vols of Tennessee.
Man, I've got a girlfriend who is so amped for this game. We looked up tickets. They're unreal because they've sold out. So resale tickets are crazy. And call me crazy, but man, I just think that it is going to be hopping in Starkville. I really do. And I could see Tennessee winning this game, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think the State is rolling over in this one. And I'm going to pick it. State is going to upset Tennessee.
You know, my heart's always with Mississippi State as long as they're not playing LSU. I agree. The atmosphere is going to be not quite as raucous as the year Dak and the boys almost made a run to the playoffs, but it's going to be very similar. The junction's going to be packed. It's going to be a long day of tailgating, getting a little boozed up and getting ready to go into Davis Wade Stadium. Those cowbells are going to be loud. I'm cheering for them, but I got to go with Rocky Top.
And now we get to the marquee game for us in the office, at least because of a side bet. I'll go ahead and let you know. I'm sure it's a shock. Dog wasn't able to be here with us, but he's picking the Rebels, so we already know where he was going to go on this one. When we get to Guru on this pick, which I think he has a spoiler on his T-shirt on who he's picking, but he can enlighten us on the details of his and Dog's bet when we get to that. But for me, it's at home for Ole Miss. Ole Miss plays really well at home. I just don't think Their defense looks really suspect. They're starting their backup quarterback in this game, who did look good last week. But I think LSU has national championship on their mind. I think they go into Oxford, and I think LSU takes care of business.
Yeah, this isn't the same Ole Miss team that we saw last year. And that team that played LSU last year lost. And I don't see anything that, at least on my radar, I don't see anything that says that Ole Miss is the better team in this one. Yeah, give me LSU.
It's not what Vegas said. Vegas has them as a slight favorite over the Bayou Bengals game that I will actually be attending. And Dog will be there too. And our side bet is the loser has to wear a hat and shirt of the winning team's colors, and the winner also gets to pick where the loser has to buy him lunch. So hopefully we can have Dog on the show in purple and gold next Thursday. And, the one thing that nobody mentioned in this matchup is LSU's offense. LSU's offense, outside of playing southeastern Louisiana last week, I mean, it hasn't looked good at all. Their defense is top 5 in the country. I think going back on what Kevin said about the Ole Miss defense, that might give this LSU offense some opportunities to make some big plays. And if that happens, it could be a very long afternoon for Ole Miss. However, I don't think that this gets more than a 10-point lead for either team throughout the night. I think it ends up coming down possibly once again to the final possession of the game. But, I mean, come on. You think I'm going to pick the Hottie Snotties? I mean, come on. Tiger bait. Go Tigers.
No Packet Hat McAfee chance on the air. We don't want to get in trouble there. Well, now we get into what most of you are excited about, our high school picks of the week. Our first game is Bay Springs at Quitman. Give me Bay Springs. I'm gonna go with Bay Springs in this one.
Go Dogs.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I saw Quitman last week, and Bay Springs by 30.
Next, we've got Collins at West Marion. I'm going to go with the Road Dogs here. I'm going to go with Collins in this one.
I really don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been kind of debating on this one. I think I'm going with the home team on this one. I think I'm going West Marion.
Yeah, I did. I do my little research on the high school games, and Collins got one win on the year. It's at West Marion. I'm going to go with West Marion too.
Next, we've got Meridian at Hattiesburg. This is a game that some say is a rivalry, so
kind of like Biloxi.
It's kind of like Biloxi, so we'll see how this game matches up. Kevin and I saw Hattiesburg, or no, you weren't at the Jug. I saw Hattiesburg play. I'm going to be honest, I'm not impressed with Hattiesburg, and maybe they're better than what I saw that night, but I'm going to take Meridian. I'm going to take the road team here.
Yeah, I'm going to take the home team in this one. I'm taking Hattiesburg, just because I'm just unsure about Meridian. I think they've had a lot of turnover and things like that through players and whatnot, so I'm going to go with Hattiesburg in this one.
Biggest reason I'm going to make the pick that I'm going to is that Hattiesburg went on the road last week and beat Biloxi. Give me the Tigers at home over the Wildcats.
Next, we've got an interesting game here as Heidelberg is traveling up to Tennessee to take on McCallie. Kevin, I know, did a bit of a preview and talked to the coach on this one, so I'll look forward to his insight. McCallie's one of the top teams in Tennessee. It's a long road trip. I want to see Heidelberg pull off what I would consider an upset, but I think that road trip's going to wear them out. I'm going with McCallie.
Yeah, this one's interesting, man. McCallie went and beat a team from California who was, I want to say, 6th in the nation.
Mission Viejo.
Like yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. Coach Carter's good at selling me. I think he could make you run through a brick wall. I'm going to be honest. I know why those kids are are motivated. But he did bring up a good point. He said, watching film, he said we compared who they played last week, and he said we compared it with our skill position players, and he's like, I see where I'm like, I don't think our players are much different from them, and he says it's all about individual matchups, and you have a really good kid behind center in Chase Craft. You got really good skill position players. I know it's out there. I know after researching McCallie, they've back-to-back state champs in Tennessee. They've won, I think, 5 out of 6, so they're no pushovers by any means. But I don't think Heidelberg's a pushover. Coach Carter, he referenced the Knoxville County game. He's like, man, we should have won that game. He said, we're 3 possessions giving up turnovers that if we hadn't made boneheaded mistakes, we beat Knoxville County. And I think Knoxville County is one of the best in the state. I think they're one of the better teams in the state. With that said, I'm going to give them some billboard material here. I'm picking McCallie to win by 13.
Yeah, and you talk about what Coach Carter said with matchups. The biggest difference is McCallie is if it hasn't changed, it's an all boys prep school, and they're going to outnumber Heidelberg by a minimum of 2-1.
Yeah.
So when you look at your number 1 DB against their number 1 wide receiver, you also got to look at it against the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 wide receivers, because McCallie's going to come at you with numbers. They're the 2-time defending state championship. Kevin said 5 out of the last 6. McCallie's going to roll in this one, but it's not going to hurt Heidelberg. It's going to help them in the long run. But McCallie just has too much in manpower to fall in this one. Give me McCallie.
Coach Carter said one thing real quick. He's like, we ain't got nothing to lose in this game.
It's fair.
Just come out of here and don't get hurt.
Yep. Next, we've got Newton County at Mize. Again, I'm going to go with the home team in this one. I'm going with Mize.
Same. I'm going with the Bulldogs.
Newton County.
Hey,
Give me the Cougars.
Saves us from being on the same page. I like it. Next game, let's before I say this one, we apologize for a mistake last week, our rundown. We already picked this game last week, but that doesn't mean we can't change our picks, because we messed up on Petal's opponent last week. They do, in fact, host Clinton High this week. So,
that is accurate.
So, again, if this sounds like a repeat pick, no, they're not playing 2 weeks in a row. We got something wrong last week, and we apologize for that. But we are a small staff of 3, so it's easy to have that happen.
That was pulled directly from the newspaper, and none of the 3 people sitting here talking typed that up. So
that's fair.
The 4th member of the news staff team, who lives in Hammond, Louisiana, you know who you are. That was your fault.
Well,
go ahead and pick your alma mater in this one, Jack.
Wait
a minute.
My alma mater's not in this one, but the team that
your favorite
I hated,
your favorite team outside of your alma mater.
Yeah, the team that I hated because of my alma mater at Warren Central, Clinton High School, will never get picked. I mean, even if they are the clear favorite. So give me Petal once again. Same reason I gave last week.
I had to change of heart, man. I had to change of heart over the week.
Really?
That's okay. Hey, that's fair.
I know I picked Clinton last week, but we get a redo. And I don't know.
Is that because of Petal's win last week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really, I don't know. I just really did. The more, I know we joked about it, but seeing what they did last week kind of convinced me that hey, Petal's here. So I'm gonna go with Petal. I'm gonna be with Jack over here.
Jack, what is Clinton's mascot name?
The Annoyance.
What is it really?
The Arrows.
Let me get one out. Here's to your pick.
It's off the mark.
Give me Clinton.
It's off the mark like the Clinton Arrows will be this weekend. Anyway, next we've got Bay High at PCS. Give me PCS in this one.
Same, PCS.
Just a reason why we're also quick to pick PCS in this one. Bay High comes in 0-3, has scored 14 points and been shut out twice.
Yeah, they're
PCS all the way.
They're struggling for sure. Next, we've got Raleigh at Morton. Interesting matchup. I'm going to go with the home team. Give me Morton.
Oh, wow. I'm getting Raleigh.
wow.
Raleigh.
Look, I'll be honest. I'm picking Morton because my father, that side of the family, all from Forest County. So I'm picking it because of family roots. No other reason.
Fair enough. But too bad you're going to be wrong. Raleigh in a rout.
There you go. Well, I like hearing not only am I going to be wrong, but it's going to be a route on top of it. Now we've got Mount Olive at Stringer. Give me Mount Olive.
I'm sending this clip to Dan Brady as soon as we get off this podcast.
Hey, look, they've burned me so many times, so I'm picking against them this time.
Goodness.
Wow.
Look, I love Coach Dirt. I love Coach Dirt. But Mount Olive, man, they barely can field a football team, just because of the way the school is at this point. They should be playing 8-man football, and I'm not even joking about that. Give me Stringer, even though Dan said his team sucked 2 weeks ago when they won.
Yeah, the Devil's Den will not be kind to Mount Olive. Stringer in a rout.
Next, we've got Silver Bay traveling to Louisiana to take on River Oaks. Another long travel, going to Louisiana. I'm going to go with the home team in this one.
Wow, Gerald's going to be mad.
He's going to have to be. Hey, look, I've been wrong picking them. Same reason I went against Stringer. Every time I pick them, I end up doing them no favors.
Little man football.
I'm back on the bandwagon. Give me the Saints.
Should have listened to Jack. River Oaks beat Bensford Car Dealership Academy 48-20.
Wow.
Silver Bay lost to the same Bensford Car Dealership Academy 38-24. River Oaks.
Next, we've got Wayne Academy traveling to.
You skipped one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Taylorsville at North Forest.
You could have skipped this one because this is probably the toughest one on the board if you paid any attention.
Yeah, and same thing. Every time I seem to pick Taylorsville, they don't do good. So give me North Forest. Maybe I'll help them out this week by picking against them.
Fun fact: North Forest has one of the nicest stadiums all around. Like for a small school, they have a really nice stadium. With that said, though, Taylorsville finally gets back in the win column. They're Wintersville this week. They beat North Forest.
Yeah, Taylorsville comes in. They haven't scored in 10 quarters. They've been shut out in the last 2. But, I mean, come on. When you're playing they lost to Heidelberg and who they lose to before Heidelberg?
Raleigh.
Yeah.
Mize.
Mize was the opener, and then Bay Springs was the second game. They haven't scored since the second quarter of the Bay Springs game. This one, I went back and forth, but I like your Wintersville pick. Give me Taylorsville 19-18. There was some scientific research to come up with that score.
Now we'll get to the one I tried to go last, and that'll be.
You just wanted to say Chef.
Yeah, Wayne Academy at Chef in Louisiana. Another team moving outside of the state, playing outside of the state. Wayne Academy, of course, trying to rebuild, I guess. Give me the Louisiana team.
Man, I don't know. I don't know anything about Chef other than he was a character on South Park, and he got killed off. So give me Wayne Academy.
Fair enough.
I do like his rationale.
I was going to sing some songs, but I won't. Christian Home Educators Fellowship out of Baton Rouge. That would be your Chef.
Homeschoolers unite, baby.
Oh, he's changing his pick now. I think I am
Do
as well.
you want to change?
No, I'm not changing my
I'm
pick.
definitely changing.
Okay. They're 0-5 on the year. They've scored a total of 100 points offensively. You heard that number? 60 of them came in one game. They've scored 40 points combined in their other 4 games. Jaguars in a rout.
Next, we've got, we're getting into our local schools. This is one we've already kind of talked about during our preview. Laurel at Oak Grove. Man, I really want to be wrong in this pick because I've watched multiple Laurel games. I see the effort. I see how hard those kids are fighting and clawing, but I just don't think this is the week for them. I think they are going to lose to Oak Grove. I think it's just too tall of an order. There is the possibility that maybe Oak Grove, after winning last week, might come in a little too high, and they might be right for the letdown. But I just can't see them losing. So give me Oak Grove.
Yeah, just get out of this game with some positive momentum. Get to your bye week and focus on district. I don't know much else to say that's already been said about Laurel other than that. So I'm taking Oak Grove.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think for the most part, our county games are all probably going to be picked the same. I know every coach will tell you, and I don't know if every one of them truly believes in it, and they'll tell you there's no moral victories in football. I disagree, because I think if Laurel can come out, if they play a full 4 quarters, keep it a close game, even if the final's like 34-20 or 34-17, something in that area, they're going to find a lot of positives out of that. And I think that's kind of the way this game's going to go. It'll be a little bit closer than a lot of people think. I think Oak Grove will come out of the gates a little sluggish after that big win against Neville out of Louisiana last week. But at the end of the day, I think they'll have enough to beat Laurel. So yeah, Oak Grove for me too.
Next, we've got South Jones at Enterprise Clark. I really am starting to believe in the Braves, so give me South Jones in this one.
Well, here's the thing. I really want to pick South Jones. But, man, that 1920s offense where you're just running and grinding that thing out, South Jones might get 3 possessions in this game. I'm just kidding. South Jones is taking this one, and they're going to take it pretty easy. I think it gets out of hand because I think South Jones is going to jump out. They're going to utilize their skill players, jump out to a lead, and there's just no coming back for Enterprise Clark.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think in the early going it might take South Jones a couple of defensive possessions for them to get their timing, to figure out how this attack. I mean, because it's one thing to watch film of a team like Enterprise Clark, and it's another thing to go out on the practice field and their practice offense is emulating their offense. But until you get in that game setting, it'll take a couple of possessions. But I think once the South Jones defense gets its feet up under them, I think the offenses are going to put them out to about a 14-0 lead, and then I think it does get away, and I think midway through the third quarter there's a running clock. Braves all the way.
Next, we've got West Jones at Wayne County. Again, I don't think there's any shock in how each of us are going to pick in this one. I think you kind of know where we were going based on the previews we had. I'm with you, Kevin. I want to see this rivalry return to its glory where it's competitive again. But right now, Wayne's down. West is still West. Give me West Jones.
Yeah, same here. I'm taking the Mustangs. I at least want to see Wayne County stands half full. That's what I'm hoping for. If I'm able to go there Friday night, tomorrow night, I at least want to see the stands half full. And I know that's a tall task.
I think
I'm just going to call. I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call my hometown out right now. The fact that you said it, that you don't have a booster club, that you built this stadium, I'm calling it the house that Marcus Boyles built. You have one of the finer stadiums in the state. You have one of the finer athletic facilities as a whole in the state. Something has to change. Something has to change. I'm sick of seeing on Friday nights people saying, well, they played well, and y'all just don't see what these boys are doing during the week. Well, whatever they're doing during the week, it's not translating to Friday nights. I think of like Dillon football and Friday Night Lights and people tailgating during the day. I remember when people were setting up in Walmart across the street on Friday morning tailgating.
And did the same thing out in the tennis, where the tennis courts are now at West Jones.
Yeah, just tailgating all day. I'm sick of this. Their head coach might not like me because he might hear this. I don't know if he listens to the podcast. Something's got to change. This is ridiculous. But yeah, West Jones they're gonna roll.
I think number one, there's going to be more West Jones fans than Wayne County fans. That's a challenge. Prove me wrong, but I doubt you will. Number two, it's way deeper than just the head coach at Wayne County. Coach Hankins does a good job there. I would not put it all on him.
No.
I mean, it goes to the lack of support, and that falls back to the administration and the parents and fans. And I wish, like both of these guys said, that this would get back to the type of rivalry that it was just even 5 years ago. I mean, we'll never get back to y'all versus us days with social media and with all the other platforms out there that can cover a ball game. But West Jones rolls.
Before we get to our marquee game of the week, it is time for Wild Card, which I know Guru looks forward to. I sent both of y'all a screenshot of a hockey player back in 2018. Not even a hockey player. He was an accountant, Scott Foster. He was listed as the Blackhawks emergency goaltender. And after both goalies got hurt, he had to come in, play goalie in an NHL game where his only experience was playing beer league hockey, and he was able to pitch a shutout against an NHL team. The question has nothing to do with hockey, so neither one of y'all have to worry. But the question ties into that. What other sports could benefit from an emergency player at any position, and which one would you love to be the emergency player for? Kevin, I'll start with you.
What sport?
Any
Sport
sport.
and position.
Sport
Yeah,
that
any
could
sport.
benefit from an emergency player. And what sport would I want to be?
Yeah, two separate in this.
I was like the hockey player. I was like, oh God, I just glanced at the thing in court this morning. Y'all can disagree with it. I don't care.
Wrestling's not a sport.
No, I'm not saying wrestling. Man, put me in NASCAR, dude.
Okay.
Let me line up. I race go-karts.
Ricky Bobby.
Boy, I race go-karts as a teenager, man. I love it. I believe it. It is my favorite sport.
If it happens, just remember, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, man. Put me in there. I would love to do it.
NASCAR does have emergency drivers in case a driver gets sick or get injured already. So that's definitely the one you want. Is there a position in sport that you think could benefit from adding the emergency player?
Ooh. I mean, I would say baseball, but you have relief pitchers and things like that. Man.
Wouldn't it be funny, though, in an extra inning game if the accountant had to come down and pitch because you run out of pitchers? I think baseball works still.
Imagine you have to go to the free throw line in basketball and you have to go bring Guru in to shoot 3 free throws. That would be fun. Be fun to watch.
You might end up losing.
But you might end up winning.
No, I'm talking about he's going to be losing if he's betting against
No,
him.
I love basketball. I love it.
No, I've said since I was younger that my dream job, and because I know you easily would make 6 figures, would be to be an MLB bullpen catcher. And, teams typically don't carry more than 2 catchers.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them do have guys that in high school or maybe early in college did catch, so they kind of have an emergency catcher. But if I was able to go back to my early to mid 20s and there was a bullpen catcher job that came available and I could take that and could be an emergency catcher, that would be my pick, emergency catcher.
I like it. I think for one of the things, and it's the most obvious because we've seen examples of it just a couple of years ago in football, I think an emergency quarterback could be something the sport could benefit from. I mean, it would be hilarious to see the accountant come down there and try to sling the pigskin. It'd be better than Brock Purdy a few years ago with a banged up shoulder in the NFC Championship game, not even able to throw the ball. And all the 49ers could do is line up and run and got destroyed because, of course, the other team knew exactly what they were going to do. So, yeah, I think we need an emergency quarterback position. That could be entertaining. Now, after all that nonsense, we can get into our game of the week here. This week is going to be Seminary at Northeast Jones. A fun matchup. This is going to be, I think, a fun game for sure. but I just think the Tigers are rolling. This may be a very Tigers theme episode. So give me Northeast Jones to win on their homecoming.
Yeah, I think it's homecoming week, and I just watched Northeast Jones absolutely dominate Lawrence County. And man, they got all the momentum on their side. And for the first time all year, taking my daughter to school this morning, she was super excited because they're doing all the homecoming stuff and all that. She's not a part of that 'cause she's 7th grader. But man, she was super excited. They're bringing donuts for the kids this morning and all kind of stuff. And I just think it's there for Northeast just to have a great week. But you know what? It all sets up for Mitch Evans and the Seminary Bulldogs to spoil it. And spoil it's what they're going to do. They're going to upset the Tigers on homecoming night. And they're going to beat them by a touchdown.
Are you going to send this clip to Coach Milner as well?
Put it on there as bulletin board material.
We always love being a part of bulletin board material. I do. And, I mean, y'all can take this sheet after it's over because I had already circled my pick before we came up here. Northeast Jones has found their groove a bit, but with the history that Mitch Evans has as a head coach, this game will not be too big for him, and Seminary will come in to Northeast Jones and upset the Tigers in the jungle and spoil homecoming.
Wow. So I'm the only one who stuck with Northeast Jones, which I don't know if that bodes well for them or not. It would have been better if we'd all picked Seminary. That could have helped them, but I believe they've turned a corner, folks. So we'll see. That's why they play these games.
That's why they play the game.
A lot of fun, folks. And as much as doing this show is a lot of fun with you guys, and we enjoy the feedback. We enjoy you guys, watching the show, sharing the show on different social media platforms. Again, we're having a good time here. These picks aren't serious, but they
are for me.
They are from the standpoint of bragging rights. But again, folks, we thank y'all for listening, watching, and viewing. Is there one more thought that either of y'all want to have before we sign off?
Good. Have a safe trip to Oxford.
GTHOM.
No parting shot there, outside of that, for your.
I can't say that.
I was trying to set them up, but I figured it wasn't going to work. But anyway.
Bum, 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 bum. That's all I'm going.
Hopefully next week we will have Dog in studio, and one of those two is going to be wearing colors that they're not fans of wearing. So that will be fun for us. But this has been the Laurel Leader Call Sports Show. I'm Jack Fairchilds, and for Kevan Lindsey and Guru Nichols, we'll see you next week.